Okay, just now we have studied the central economic problems. Now just knowing the problems is not a good thing. We also need to know how different economies also solve these central economic problems. Now wait a minute, what does different economies means? So there are three types of economies. One is a capitalist economy, the other a socialist economy, and the third a mixed economy. Going ahead, we'll be studying in the following manner. First, we'll study the meaning of economy. Meaning, we'll understand what capitalist, socialist, and mixed mean. Then, we'll be studying the characteristics of these economies. And after that, we'll be studying how such economies solve their problems. Then the merits and the demerits. So there is a lot to remember. But keep in mind well that if you understand this, it's very easy. So let's start with the capitalist economy. To remember this economy, you just need to remember two P's. One, private, and the other, profit. And that's it. These two sum up the capitalist economy. So basically in this economy, everything is owned and controlled. Right? Everything is owned as well as controlled by the private enterprises, by the private individuals, and profit is the driving force. Government doesn't interfere at all, and everyone is given freedom to choose what work they want to do. So following are the characteristics of a capitalist economy. First, right of private property. This means that the property can be transferred into a private name. For example, lands can be transferred into a private name. It's possible for the citizens and non-citizens sometimes to buy the property of that place. While as in many economies which we'll study later, like the socialist economy, you cannot buy the property in your name. Everything is owned by the government. You cannot own something. The second characteristic is the freedom of enterprise. Remember all these startups these days? These are called as freedom of enterprise. I have the freedom to choose and build any enterprise that I want. I can work for myself. I don't need to work for the government. Third, consumers are free to spend their money in any manner. Right? That means consumer can buy only the products they like and not buy the products they don't like. In this manner, they give the hint to producers to what to produce. Right? This is also called as consumer sovereignty. Fourth characteristic is definitely profit motive. Fifth is competition. As everyone is focusing on profit and everything is privatized, so there can be a lot of competing companies competing against each other to gain the maximum profit. And sixth, inequalities of income. Mainly as we are spreading out powers in the hands of different power individuals, right? So definitely the income inequalities are going to be very high. You are going to see very rich people to very poor people in a capitalist economy. Well, now we know the characteristics of a capitalist economy. We should also look into how they solve their problems, right? So there is no central planning authority. Right, because the powers has been divided into individuals or firms. And they use impersonal forces of the market demand and supply, or known as the price mechanisms, to solve their problem. Right, this is also a very important MCQ, that what mechanism does a capitalist economy utilize for solving their central economic problems? And the answer is price mechanism, or the impersonal forces of market demand and supply. So what are the central economic problems? First was what to produce. Now let's see, if I was in a capitalist economy, how would I solve this? Simple. It is decided by the consumers who show their preferences by spending goods on what they want. So if a lot of consumers, by consumer spending habits, I can understand, okay, what I need to produce, because everyone wants to have huge profits. So again, whatever the consumer is buying will give me huge profits, and everyone is going to actually produce the same thing. Second problem, how to produce? Well, again, it's a capitalist economy. The profit-driven economy is there. So either I will try to find out, is labor-intensive cheap for me, or is the capital-intensive cheap for me? Whatever is cheap for me, that mechanism I will use for how to produce. The third problem, for whom to produce? For those who have the buying capacity, right? Because again, when my product will get sold, then only I will get profit. So for the people who have the buying capacity, I'm only going to sell to these guys. So for whom I have to produce? For the people who have the buying capacity to buy my product. Fourth, deciding about consumption, saving and investment. This was my fourth economic problem, right? How do they solve it? Consumption is done by consumers and investment by entrepreneurs. Higher the interest rate, higher the savings, and higher the return on capital, higher the investment. Well, now let's study the merits and demerits of capitalist economy. Let's look at the merits first. Newer and finer variety of the goods. Well, till now, I think you must have had an idea that which country in the world is following the capitalist economy. And if you are thinking USA, UK, you are right. These people are following the capitalist economy. And if I look at in the last decade, what are the things that were like massive hit? Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all WhatsApp, all of these things have come from all of these things have come from of that side of the world. Why? Because capitalist gives power to individuals. And these individuals then surprise you with such things. And only when you get power do you get newer and finer variety of goods. High standard of living is another advantage. Maximum efficiency in the production as freedom of enterprise. Maximum satisfaction to the consumers as freedom of choice. New business talents arise. Research takes place. So these are all the advantages of a capitalist economy. But again, we definitely have some demerits. Rich become richer and poor become poorer. Well, they always say that this is a demerit of capitalist economy. And I somehow believe that this is not a demerit of a capitalist economy. This is the demerit of people. And why? I will tell you this as a short story. When I was young and my mom said me, do you know what income disparity means? And I said, yes, the rich people are getting richer and the poor people are getting poor. And this is income disparity. And my mom said, okay, to cut down income disparity, can we do one thing? Let's collect all the money in the world and then divide it by all the people and give everyone the same amount of money. That means no one is rich, no one is poor, everyone just has the same amount of money. And I said, yes, mom, wonderful idea. If we do this, there will be no income disparity. But my mom said, don't be surprised. In the coming 5 years, you will see people who were previously rich will again become rich. And people who were previously poor will again become poor. It's not the rich is getting richer because he already has riches. It's because he has the mind to do it. And the poor is getting poorer, it's because he has the spending nag, he has the spending habit. And that's why people's characteristics is more important than this one line in economics that the rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer because of the capitalist economy. It's not because of the capitalist economy. It's because of people's mindset. And if you have looked at the last decade, you might have seen people have gone from rags to riches. Right? Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, he has gone from rags to riches. So it's just because of the opportunities that he has materialized in this world. But still, for the book, we have to learn this as a demerit. The second demerit is welfare is generally ignored here as only profit is the aim and thus economic instability occurs. There is a creation of monopoly. Also what happens is that more luxuries are produced as a result into higher profits. See, In my country also, there will be more BMWs and more Mercedes than more normal people car. Why? Because the profit margin there is much more. And hence, sometimes necessity goods are left out for goods which are giving high profit. And this is how sometimes the overall economy of my country is hurt. So, this is all about capitalist economy. One more thing, this economy is also called free market economy and laissez-faire economy. Please remember these two words as they are really important for the MCQs.